Welcome back to Alara Voss XRP, your go-to channel for the latest breaking news, insights, and real talk on everything happening in the crypto world, especially XRP. Today, we are waking up to something that I genuinely believe the entire XRP army is going to like. And it's not just hype. This is coming straight from major names that actually move the needle. We're talking about Scott Bessent, widely known as Trump's numbers guy, and SEC Chair Paul Atkins, both aligning on one very important message. It's time to pass the Clarity Act. And the big question right now is simple. What are we waiting for? The House has already done its part, and now all eyes are on the Senate. This is one of those moments where everything feels like it's building up beneath the surface. And if you've been paying attention, you already know this could be a turning point not just for XRP, but for the entire crypto market. What makes this moment even more interesting is the timing and urgency behind these statements. This wasn't some vague comment from months ago. This was posted just hours ago. Fresh, current, and very direct. Paul Atkins is openly calling on Congress to pass comprehensive crypto market structure legislation, specifically the Clarity Act, and send it straight to the president's desk. That kind of language matters. It signals alignment at levels we haven't consistently seen before. The idea here is to future-proof the financial system against what they're calling rogue regulators, which is something the crypto space has been battling for years now. And for XRP holders, this hits differently because clarity has always been the missing piece in the puzzle. You can feel the shift happening, not in price just yet, but in the foundation being built underneath everything. Now let's talk about what everyone always wants to know. Price. Because yes, price is what changes lives, and nobody is pretending otherwise. But here's the reality. If you look at coin market cap right now, nothing looks dramatically different on the surface. Bitcoin is hovering around the same levels, Ethereum is doing its thing, and XRP isn't suddenly exploding overnight. But that's exactly the point most people miss. The real action is happening beneath the surface. Infrastructure is evolving, adoption is accelerating, and regulatory clarity is getting closer by the day. These are the things that don't immediately reflect in price, but eventually drive massive moves. It's like watching pressure build before a breakout. And right now, that pressure is very real. And while some people are calling crypto boring right now, that couldn't be further from the truth if you actually understand what's happening behind the scenes. AI agents are already transacting using crypto rails. Major financial institutions are actively tokenizing assets. Stablecoins are seeing more adoption and interest than ever before. This isn't speculation. This is real-world integration happening in real time. But because it's not instantly pumping prices, many people overlook it. That's where the disconnect is. The market is maturing, evolving, and quietly laying the groundwork for something much bigger. And when it finally reflects in price, it won't be subtle. It'll be explosive. At the same time, we can't ignore what's happening globally because macro events always play a role. Oil prices are moving again, and a lot of that ties back to ongoing tensions involving Iran. Just recently, Iran rejected calls from the US and Israel to restrict its uranium enrichment program, and they've even threatened to halt negotiations if certain military actions continue. On top of that, the Strait of Hormuz situation remains unstable despite ceasefire discussions. These kinds of developments create uncertainty in traditional markets, and historically, uncertainty tends to push attention toward alternative assets like crypto. So, while it may seem unrelated at first glance, these global tensions are part of the bigger picture influencing where money flows next. Meanwhile, political messaging is adding even more layers to the situation. Trump has been active, making statements about NATO, military readiness, and global alliances, which only adds to the sense that we're in a very dynamic and unpredictable environment. Whether you agree with his tone or not, the reality is that geopolitical narratives are shifting, and markets respond to that. Europe, for example, may not be fully aligned with some of these positions, especially after past tensions, and that kind of friction can ripple into economic decisions. All of this feeds into a broader atmosphere where traditional systems feel strained. And that's exactly the kind of environment where crypto tends to gain relevance. Back in the crypto space, though, the excitement isn't just about headlines. It's about participation. There are events, competitions, and opportunities popping up everywhere, from trading competitions to conferences in places like Miami. These aren't just marketing gimmicks. They reflect a growing ecosystem where people are actively engaging, learning, and building. Giveaways, incentives, partnerships, all of it contributes to a more active and connected community. And while some may see it as noise, it's actually a sign of expansion. The more people involved, the stronger the network becomes, and that ultimately feeds back into long-term value. Looking at the market itself, there's always movement. Some tokens pumping, others dropping, and a constant rotation of attention. You've got projects like Algorand gaining traction due to developments like advancements in computing technology, while others fluctuate based on sentiment and speculation. That's normal. The crypto market has always been volatile, and it always will be. But within that volatility, there are patterns, and right now, one of the clearest patterns is increasing institutional interest and technological integration. That's not something you can fake, and it's not something that disappears overnight. What's also interesting is the reaction from the community. When news about the Clarity Act started circulating again, people responded exactly how you'd expect. Excitement from supporters, skepticism from critics, and of course, the usual wave of negativity from those who doubt it will ever pass. But that's part of the process. Every major shift faces resistance. The important thing is that the conversation is happening at higher levels now, and the momentum is building. Even the critics are indirectly contributing by keeping the discussion alive. And for those who have been in XRP for the long haul, this kind of attention is long overdue. On the financial side, there are also more structured ways for people to engage with crypto now, including platforms that allow exposure through retirement accounts, tax-advantaged strategies, and even diversification into assets like gold and silver alongside crypto. This is another sign of maturity in the market. It's no longer just about buying coins on an exchange, it's about integrating crypto into broader financial planning. When you start seeing that level of infrastructure, it tells you the industry is moving beyond its early stages and into something much more established. And then you've got voices within the industry itself, people like Brian Armstrong from Coinbase and Brad Garlinghouse from Ripple, who don't always agree on every detail but are ultimately pushing in the same direction. Armstrong tends to focus on securing the best possible framework, while Garlinghouse emphasizes the urgency of clarity over chaos. Different approaches, same goal. And that's actually healthy. Debate leads to stronger outcomes as long as it stays constructive. The important thing is that leaders in the space are actively engaged in shaping the future rather than sitting on the sidelines. What really stands out right now is the alignment across multiple institutions. The SEC, the CFTC, the Treasury. These are not small players. And when you start hearing consistent messaging from across these entities, it's a sign that something is shifting at a structural level. Add in political backing and industry pressure, and you get a scenario where progress becomes increasingly likely. It may not happen overnight, and it may not follow a perfectly smooth path, but the direction is becoming clearer. And for XRP, clarity has always been the key catalyst everyone has been waiting for. The anticipation is building, and you can feel it. Even if you're not in Congress, even if you don't have insider information, you can see the pieces coming together. The conversations are louder, the urgency is higher, and the stakes are bigger than ever. This isn't just about passing a bill. It's about defining the future of digital assets in the United States and potentially setting a standard for the rest of the world. That's why so many people are paying attention right now, and that's why this moment matters. At the same time, it's important to stay grounded. There's always a tendency to expect immediate results, especially in crypto, where things can move fast. But real structural change takes time. The key is recognizing the signals early and positioning yourself accordingly. That's what experienced investors focus on, not just reacting to price, but understanding the underlying shifts that eventually drive those price movements. And right now, those shifts are happening in a big way. As we move forward, events like upcoming conferences and industry gatherings will continue to play a role in shaping the narrative. These are the places where ideas are exchanged, partnerships are formed, and strategies are refined. Miami, for example, has become a major hub for crypto discussions, and what comes out of these events often influences market sentiment in the weeks and months that follow. So it's worth paying attention not just to the headlines, but to the conversations happening behind them. At the end of the day, this is one of those moments where patience and awareness can make all the difference. The Clarity Act isn't just another piece of legislation. It represents a potential turning point for the entire crypto ecosystem. And if it moves forward, it could unlock a level of confidence and participation we haven't seen before. For XRP holders, that's especially significant, given the history and the challenges the project has faced. This could be the moment where everything finally starts to align. So for now, all eyes remain on the Senate. And the question still stands, when will it happen? No one can give an exact answer, but what we do know is that momentum is building, and the pressure is increasing. And if you've been paying attention, you already know that moments like this don't come around often. Stay ready, stay informed, and keep watching closely because the next move could be the one that changes everything.